I'll see myself out, all right?
Strip out all the frontage and bits of trappings they've put up inside and it's back to what it was before. It'd save us a fortune. It's inspired thinking on my part, even if I do say so myself. Bet, we're on our way. And we can start work just as soon as we get the finance arranged.
Oh, so you have got round to talking about finances then?
Oh, yeah. Phil knows what it's going to cost, you know, to get off the ground.
Well?
Well, what?
How much money are we talking about?
Oh, half. Yeah, yes, Phil's responsible for half, you know, 50-50 is what we agreed.
How much, Alec?
Well, Phil reckons we can be up and running for about 120 grand.
120,000 pounds.
So here's to it, eh? The Alphabet Club.
Well, this Sunday you can see the omnibus episode of Coronation Street at 5:05.
On Monday, a dramatic encounter with a prisoner on the run. Anthony Alexandrovich escaped from prison after serving almost 20 years for a crime which would normally carry only 5.
As a criminal lawyer, I'm amazed by the fact that he's now still in prison 20 years after his conviction. It's inexplicable.
Open Eye investigates the case of this forgotten prisoner and reveals a link between a secret file and the KGB. The Curious Case of Alex. Open Eye, Monday at 10:40.
The 8 o'clock news report on the Gulf is next, and then Cilla Black says to families, surprise, surprise.
You'll never guess who I've just seen.
Yeah, I'll never guess.
Leslie. You know, Leslie. I've just seen him from the bus.
Leslie who?
Leslie who? Leslie who you used to go around with, Leslie.
Leslie?
I did like Leslie. So charming. Always took his hat off. You never took your hat off.
Never had a hat.
And he had wonderful hands.
Yeah.
Leslie Green, that was it.
What are you doing?
I was going to see if he was in the book.
It's easy to lose touch with old friends. Pick up the phone. Maybe you can pick up the threads.
Yeah, hurry! Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. She's just the same.
British Telecom. It's you we answer to.
No, it's not Beryl. I never married Beryl.
If that looks crammed, They should count themselves lucky, because there's around 300 crispy bits in every toffee crisp. Sorry, Rolf, but nothing's as grand as a toffee crisp.
Theirs was a story that spanned generations, crossed frontiers, stretched over continents, even through time itself. It was romantic, dramatic. It touched the hearts of millions. And it all happened one day in Manchester at Granada Studios Tour. And now you can share the experience, behind the scenes and beyond. You won't believe it till you see it.
Nice try, Fido. But nothing delivers the news faster than Oracle.
The ultimate newspaper.
Up front tonight, the theatrical world protests over the threatened closure of Britain's oldest repertory theatre. I'll be joined by glittering stars of past and present at the Playhouse Theatre in Liverpool. Lady Redgrave, Sue Johnston, Beryl Bainbridge will be here debating whether theatres can survive without subsidies in the 1990s. And should cash-strapped councils be asked to put the arts before education or social services? The arts policymakers face their critics in Up Front tonight at 10:40.
And now over to ITN.
From ITN's headquarters, this is the 8 o'clock Gulf News Report with Trevor McDonald.
Good evening. President Bush confirmed tonight that Allied commanders will meet Iraqi generals tomorrow to discuss a permanent ceasefire in the Gulf and the return of prisoners of war. The president said again he hopes Saddam Hussein will be driven from power by his own people.
We are not targeting Saddam, and we have no claim on Iraqi territory.
Will we try to hunt him down for any kind of war crimes trial?
No, I'm not going to say that, not hunt him down, but nobody can be absolved from their responsibilities under international law.
The delegation meeting Iraqi leaders tomorrow will be led by General Schwarzkopf and will include the British commander Lieutenant General Sir Peter de la Billiere. Today, Sir Peter went to see his commanders in Kuwait. Scores of Iraqi troops are still surrendering to Allied forces. Sir Peter said the return of Allied prisoners of war was now the most important issue for discussion.
Well, I'll tell you one thing it includes, and which is most important to me and to everybody here, and that's the release of the British prisoners of war and indeed the coalition prisoners of war.
ITN's Jeremy Thompson has been to the scene of one of the crucial final battles of the Gulf War. Thousands of fleeing Iraqi troops were caught by American bombers.
The road was littered with the debris of a broken army. Stretching out before us almost as far as we could see, a vast scrapyard where Saddam's rabble of an army had been bombed to a standstill. In flight, the huge column had been caught in a traffic jam of death. When the first wave was halted by shelling, it had formed a choke point. Behind that, the ragtag procession of vehicles was backed up 3 miles, filling both carriageways. They were trapped. Amid the eerie sound of still running motors, one could only imagine the terror and chaos as Allied warplanes swooped down, raining cluster bombs on this sitting target. As we neared the frontier, the desert was ablaze. At least 50 wellheads were alight. Saddam's revenge upon Kuwait before his army's hasty retreat.
Reports that President Saddam Hussein is seeking political asylum in Algiers have been denied tonight by the Algerian Foreign Ministry. Both the Soviet news agency TASS and the French newspaper Le Monde have carried reports that the Iraqi leader is stepping down, but there's been no confirmation of those reports. In Baghdad, Iraqis who fled the city to escape the Allied bombing have begun returning. It's thought many more are unable to get home because roads and bridges have been destroyed. That's it so far this evening. Join us for a full roundup of all the day's news on tonight's News at 10.
Now,